Good evening, everyone. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather, and I want to bring you an update on what's going on in Hill County right now. I know that it's a loud storm. It's not severe at this time, but it is significant enough that I know I'm getting a lot of questions about what this thing is doing. Here's the storm, and you can see that it kind of has almost this little tentacle going up almost right along 34 here up into Ennis. But of course, the bulk of this, of course, is in Hill County and moving into Ellis County now. So this will be moving really up 35 just about, up into the Milford-Italy area, up to Forest, into Waxahachie, and then on north from there. Of course, this is only getting started. This is not the main show. The main show is off to our west, and just briefly, I'm going to switch radar towers here and show you this storm system off to our west, where we have quite a line of storms lined up. Severe thunderstorm warnings active out there, special weather statements, and of course that severe thunderstorm watch that it goes until midnight here. Now I'm going to just quickly let the weather cat in. He's here now, so let me actually put up a quick request out. If I can do this, the texting on these phones, since they've redone the iOS and everything, is just a mess. But yeah, this is the main storm line that is far to our west, and that will be moving in probably somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock. That's kind of where I've got it right now. But this is the main system that we're watching, and I'm hearing a lot about increasing winds in southern Ellis County. Now, something I want to mention is that, yeah, we were looking at the possibility of a small downburst or something like that in Hill County here. Really, I think it was just to the northeast of Hillsboro. And okay, so power outages east of Hillsboro. So that's possible that we could be looking at a downburst that possibly caused a power outage there. The other thing I'm watching is the threat of hail, because we've seen little bits of pink there, and I've been watching those, and nothing really has kind of stood out just yet. But the storm does continue to hold its intensity, and nothing else continues to intensify. And so I won't be surprised if there's some small hail coming out of this at some point. Very easily could be. And this storm is only going to continue to move on to the northeast and possibly intensify as it does. Let's put this back into motion here. And as we do, you can see just how many of these lightning strikes there are. And Nathan Seward, you're asking, do you think DFW and Ellis County will be in a severe thunderstorm watch later? I'm really not sure. We're going to have to wait and see if that line can maintain its intensity, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But of course, we do have this activity which has continued to intensify, and before this storm, everything has kind of weakened as it moved into our area. Now we're seeing it starting to pick up, so this could be a sign of things to come as we go through the next few hours of the night. But as this storm continues to move through, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, that not only is this storm intense, but it does look to be possibly intensifying and continuing to pick up speed, and will pick up steam, I would say, and strengthen as it gets closer. But we will continue to monitor this, of course, and let me check my phone here. And okay, so just a couple of things coming in. So I've also activated the special weather statements on here. Now, those are not warnings per se, just an area where the National Weather Service is kind of saying, hey, just to let you know, this storm might be kind of strong. Haven't seen that yet. So really haven't seen anything indicated on this storm yet. But I would say that we could possibly be getting, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, heavy rain, obviously a lot of lightning, and no reports of hail at this time, but definitely a lot of reports of strong winds and very heavy rain here. I'm just going to take a moment to look at the comments that everyone's leaving here. Yeah, strong winds near Whitney there, high winds in Forreston and Avalon. And yeah, so pretty consistent reports. And reports of a power outage there in east of Hillsboro. So yeah, pretty intense storm. And although it's not severe, we do have a marginal risk of severe weather for our area. East of us, it was a slight, excuse me, west of us, it was a slight risk, and we've already seen one of those storms do something quite impressive tonight. So there's plenty of opportunities out there right now for those storms to continue to be intense. They should pay attention to the fact that I'm saying they should weaken as they get into our area. Okay, hearing that power is out in Maypearl. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what exactly is up with that. Meredith Jones, unfortunately, I don't have the live radar stream up right now. I'm kind of in a mode where that has.
That's water.
Okay, so water for the weather cat here. Because he got up to the bowl and looked at me like I was like he thought I was crazy. So we had a report of a power outage in Maypearl. Said that's come back now. So not sure what prompted that because the storm isn't quite in that area. But Meredith, yeah, the live stream, the live radar stream, I don't really have that set up at the moment, unfortunately. So I don't know if we'll have that tonight, at least not at the moment, not for this one. But yeah, not really sure what's up with the power outages there in Maypearl. Not sure if possibly that's not sure what's going on. Okay, somebody else is saying they have power in Maypearl. Sounds like that might be a localized issue, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. This is not a severe storm. Let me make sure you understand. This is not at this point severe. I'm actually going to let me open the window here because if there's lightning, I want to see it. Just rain here at the studio at this moment. Okay, so wind howling east of Maypearl, lights flickering. So, okay, in the Maypearl area, let's zoom in a little bit more. So, yeah, you are starting to get, I guess, some of the winds from this. So it's possible that those could be storm-induced winds that are causing some of those power outages and flickering there in that area. So, okay, so strong winds coming out of this storm, and you can kind of see, too, where we're getting some of that energy blowing off the top of this storm. I was looking at the echo tops, the tops of this cloud, and it's spreading quite a bit. So we are going to continue to monitor this as we go through the next several hours. Somebody just asked about Corsicana. Just rain in that area right now. Looks like this storm will stay north of there. Not expecting this to do much in Navarro County. We have a new cell developing now south of Milford there to the southeast of Hillsborough. So that could continue to move north as well. So we're realistically, we're looking at a situation where more and more storms are going to be developing. In fact, southern Navarro County, as soon as I say that, we could be seeing some increasing coverage there. So we may be on the air for a while here. It's about 7:45 now. And let's see. I'm just kind of trying to stay on top of emails and things that are coming in. Because it's a Friday night, so I'm getting all the marketing emails in the world. The main line, the main event, all of this moving in around 10, 11 o'clock. That's when the main event moves in. However, I did mention a few days ago that I was expecting some of this to develop ahead of that, and we've seen that in the models as well. The update I brought earlier today showed us that there would be some evening storms before that line came in. So this isn't much of a surprise. I'm a little surprised at the intensity of this activity ahead of that main line. So could be a long night over here. Now the good news is that yes, we did see a tornado near the Haskell. In fact, a couple of them near the Haskell area. The good news is the severe weather threat there is not really as intense as it is expected to be here. So, yeah, not expecting that here. Now, as we saw back on the 4th of October, I mean, you can have a low tornado threat that ends up being a possible tornado event. I'm going to get Terry to help me with these crazy cats here. And somebody asking about Ennis. Yeah, we do have an intensifying cell there in Ennis. Not severe or anything at this time. Looks like mostly just heavy rain for the moment. Let me move this over a little bit. Get myself out of the way.
Tiger.
I guess he needs food. He's already eaten, but I guess he needs food too. I don't know.
Seriously.
This one, and I'm going to get hair all over me, but this one, of course, this is how cats are. Not only does this one want more food, or more water rather, he's already eaten and he's already looking for more food. So contentment is not how this guy operates, unfortunately. And I see that the other one, this one, has taken his spot. This is the one that was looking at the radar the other day in that post. So I'm usually in this office pivoting between that one and this one, trying to get my attention. So, okay, let go. And he is going to get to go in the other room and scamper away. So now that I've got hair all over my shirt here, and it's not really showing up, so not a problem. Here.
I can get you a nut or two if you need that.
Oh, I think I've got one in here actually from the last time I held Tiger. So
Okay.
I think we're good. All right. So we'll get back to the storms here. And man, just look at this cluster of lightning right there just to the west of Milford, southwest of Milford there, showing the power of that storm. And then, yeah, we do have this intensifying storm near Ennis that's picking up some steam, watching some of this south of Corsicana as well. So we're definitely seeing, especially in the southern and eastern portions of our area, nothing going on in Johnson County right now. But with this activity, we're seeing it start to light up. Down in McLennan County, in the Waco area, we'll drive south on 35 a little bit, showing the Waco area. There's a couple of these that look like they could be picking up steam too. So just be prepared. There's going to be 2 rounds of this. This is the first round that we have here, and then the second round is farther out to the west, really moving into Breckenridge and approaching Eastland now, towards Graham, that area. So this is the second line. This is the second half. This is round 2 of what we will be watching. We've had some rain today. It's been a dreary day, but now is when things really start to pick up and become more intense. So we will be watching all of this throughout the evening. And I love how an hour ago I said, well, I'm going to bring updates, hour by hour. Well, here we are. We've begun the live coverage. And yeah, this is not characteristic of February. And people have been asking me, are we going to get more snow in February? Are we going to get another cold snap? There's really nothing going on in the cold snap range, I would say, for at least probably the next couple of weeks. If I had to guess, and this is a very, very out there, wild out guess, because this is not typically something that I would say this far out, but it's a gut feeling at this point, and my gut feelings have been very right and they've been very wrong. But my gut feeling is telling me, I'm fairly certain that we're probably done with the cold snaps and the Arctic plunges and the what was it called the other day? Siberian slammers, and I don't know, Evan posted that at one time. It was weird, but all of these crazy terms, I think we're probably done with that stuff for this season. I don't know. I'm just not seeing the things happening in the models that I need to see in order for that to happen. So I think that January storm, I think that might have been it. Again, I can't guarantee that. I've seen March winter storms before, but I don't know. I'm just not. I just think that we're set in. I think we're set to start kind of transitioning into spring here, and we're just fine with that here at South Metro Weather. We are ready to rock and roll for spring this year, and need to make sure I'm watching the phone and everything. I got to just kind of make sure I pivot into severe weather coverage here and get back. We'll get back to our area too. And let me just check one more thing. Yeah, I don't see any special weather statements at this point. I don't see any of that at this quite at this time. So we don't have any, and again, those, I'll say that those special weather statements, they're not warnings, they're not watches, they're not indications of severe weather. They're indications of strong storms and basically just giving you a heads up of, hey, this is moving your way. It's kind of the step down from an advisory or a warning. None of that yet here. We will see that pop up on the screen. I don't normally post those. I don't normally have those included, but I want to make sure that we do have that included if need be. So we will continue to monitor that, and of course I'll bring all of those bulletins to you. So let's stop the animation here a little bit so we can kind of make sure that we are aware of where things are. We have the first cell here in Ennis. That's going to continue to move on to the northeast. And I think somebody said diet watch, and not here, unfortunately. I will say that we're eating out less, which will probably help. But funny enough, since somebody asked me the other day, and I didn't know the answer, and they asked, what are you doing differently? And I couldn't think of what I'd done differently, and I was 15 pounds down from where I kind of peaked. So how did I lose that 15 pounds? I couldn't really put my finger on anything I did differently, but there's two things I've done differently. There's one, I've been a little bit more mindful about my portions, so making smaller decisions through the day. And then the other thing, I've been playing drums more, and that was really good cardio. I mean, I play drums for half an hour straight, really driving songs, workout songs, driving fast songs. I'm working up a serious sweat, and I'm using just about every muscle because when you're playing drums, you're playing different things. So I think that's been the key. So, hopefully I've lost a little bit at least. I've gained a little bit. I tend to gain some in the winter, so wasn't too big a surprise. But, it is what it is. Okay, let me just, before everybody's asking, is it going to get here? Is it going to come here? When is it going to get here? I don't know where you are. You got to let me know where you're located in order for me to tell you where the storm is going to go in relation to where you're at. I'm covering 4 counties, and we have viewers from like 10 counties, from the counties all around here. So I don't know where you are. So give me your location. That'll give me a better idea of being able to say, when is it going to get there? Additionally, while I say that, if 10 people are all telling me, hey, this city, this city, this city, I may not necessarily be able to tell you. Hang tight, be patient, watch the stream. I will be talking about each area that needs to know when they need to know. If I don't mention your city, odds are you probably are okay and don't need to know. So, who needs to know right now? Well, Ennis, you have a storm that's moving out, but you also have this cluster that's moving in. So this is going to really continue up 34 here. And Waxahachie up to the north, it's almost looking like this storm will just kind of barely skirt Waxahachie, maybe to the southeast. And I think that's going to be in the next 10, maybe 15 minutes here. It will be moving into the Italy area. It's moved into Milford now, so we'll continue on. So here's that update. So moving into Milford, Italy, Forreston area now. Going to continue on to the northeast towards Avalon, Bardwell, and eventually towards the Ennis area. So really, it'll be probably in Avalon in the next 10 minutes, Bardwell next 15 minutes, probably about 20 minutes or 25 minutes in Ennis. So that's about what I'm looking at in terms of the movement of this storm. Of course, there's already heavy rain falling right along 34 here. So that's kind of where things stand in terms of a timeline. Now, where we have the stronger storms off to our west, and we'll again switch radar towers here so we can get a better picture. This line out to the west, let me move that a little bit more. This line out to the west, this will be moving in, probably touching western portions of Johnson County, moving through Bosque County, around 10 to 11 o'clock. It's hard to clock sometimes because where you see this bowing out here, sometimes it'll pick up speed at that point, and it may slow down a little bit before then too. So it will fluctuate in speed before it gets here, but I still think that somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock is probably accurate for when we'll see that. Obviously, as it gets closer, we'll get a better timeline, that sort of thing. In fact, let's see. How fast is that storm moving? So it's moving about, get out of the way here, 40 miles per hour. So it's, like I said, it's picked up speed here. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, let me clear the screen. Let's draw a path here. And I'm going to do 35 miles per hour to account for maybe some increase and decrease. So let's take a look at what to expect here in terms of timing, and there's not really a good spot to place that. I'm trying not to put it in the way. All right, so we're looking at, okay, Glen Rose about 10:13. Yeah, so Western Johnson County around 10:30. So almost right in between that period of time I gave you. So between 10 and 11 o'clock. This shows Aledo at 10:39, Cleburne at 10:47, Rio Vista 10:50. Yeah, so right around 10:30. So right in between 10 and 11 is when it has this moving through, moving into Western Johnson County, central portions of Bosque County, there, Western Hill County. So yeah, assuming it holds a relatively consistent speed. Now again, they're clocking it at 40 miles per hour right now. I clocked that at 35, so it could be a little earlier. Again, 10, 11 o'clock. That's accounting for maybe it slows down, maybe it speeds up a little bit. I still think 10 or 11 o'clock is pretty much where we're looking at for this. Now, I'm expecting closer to between 11 and 12 for Waxahachie, probably around 1 for Corsicana, 12:30, 1 a.m. for Corsicana. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So Cleburne, about probably 10:30, 11 o'clock in, if I had to really put a specific time on it, I'm thinking around 10:30 for Cleburne, about 11 for Hillsborough, about probably 11:30 in Waxahachie, and then probably midnight around there for Cleburne, or excuse me, Corsicana there. So that's kind of the timing I'm thinking in terms of where it'll go through. And again, some of it could be, could be faster, could be slower. We'll have that updated throughout the evening. But these storms will be moving faster than what's moving through our area right now. Let me get back to the local radar so we get a better picture of that. And I'm a little bit more concerned about flooding with these storms because they're not moving terribly quickly. And if you're, again, along 34 here, you've been getting heavy rain for a while. So this storm will present a little bit more of a flooding concern there. The storms we get tonight, I'm not too terribly concerned about that part of things. And then let me get to some comments here. All right, so okay, is the second one going? Bonnie, you're asking, is the second one going to have a bigger impact for Hill County? The first one was nasty. So the first one I think hung around Hillsborough longer than this other wave will. The second one's a pretty thin line that's moving pretty quickly. So that one will kind of be in and out, right? It could be loud. We'll have to wait and see. This is one of those things where we have to wait and see how much it or how little it weakens before it gets here. So it could be another loud storm, but I expect it to be in here and out of here a little bit quicker. And we'll go to some more comments here. Should we be worried about tornadoes? Alicia, not a very high tornado threat here. I can't say it's zero, but really not much of one. The good news is that it's already a straight line, right? It's already a line of storms. Usually the tornado threat's going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit less width. I mean, they're still possible, but you don't usually have quite the organization you need for a tornado along those lines that are moving through, especially as it's expected to weaken over our area. Yeah, I would say the tornado threat's pretty low across our area. Not zero. Let me make sure you understand the tornado threat is not zero, but it is pretty low as those storms come in later tonight. Okay. So yeah, just making sure I'm caught up on comments here. This is a quite a noisy storm, so Curran, thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate that, and I know that you've asked me to do some coordination with you. Like I have said in the email that you sent, let's coordinate however I can. I'll have to be here, but I can definitely contribute to that conversation, and move forward with that. So we'll be talking about that in the future. But thank you so much for the stars. The Venmo and Cash App are out there too. I don't think I've seen anything come through, but if we do, of course, I'll thank you on air as I usually do. Brittany, is the storm coming towards Corsicana? So for the Navarro County area, this storm specifically, let's move that a little bit. That storm is not going to, this one is not as intense as what you see north of you, and that storm will stay north of Corsicana. So nothing too intense for Corsicana or Navarro County at this time. I will be watching this though. This could intensify as it moves north into Oak Valley, north into the Corsicana area in the next several minutes, but it's not doing much right now. The wind in this storm, we could be seeing 20, 30, maybe 40 mile per hour wind gusts in this storm. Been reported as pretty intense. That said though, for the most part, not a whole lot of wind in the other storms that we see across this area. I think we have breezy winds just anyway, but in terms of storm relative or storm produced winds, could be 20 to 30, possibly up to 40 miles per hour in the storm from Milford to Italy and over towards the Ennis area. Let's getting back to these comments here, asking about Ovilla, the northern part of the county right now. Everything is pretty much south of Waxahachie and Palmer here. So not much going on in northern Ellis County, nothing going on in Johnson County right now. Things are moving out of Hill County. So really, if you're in Ellis or Navarro County, that's kind of where things are focused right now. This activity does appear to be trying to intensify here in Corsicana, Navarro County. And Bo, you're asking no rotation with these storms right now. No rotation indicated here. Just a few thunderstorms. One of those was pretty strong for a while. The storm in the Italy-Milford area does not look to be as intense as it was, but yeah, not seeing any rotation out there. So not really concerned about that with any of these particular storms. That said, though, this storm east of Ennis as that continues to move into Kaufman County might be worth watching there as well. Could be some small hail coming out of that storm at some point, but the strongest of this, of course, is this one we've been watching from Italy down to Milford, down towards Carl's Corner there. So pretty heavy storm, still plenty of lightning in that storm as well. It's going to be making an impression, but looks like it has, at least for the moment, weakened a little bit for that particular area. I do want to talk about the overall situation tonight and just remind everyone that while we do have this activity that's really along and east of I-35 here from Marlin and Waco up towards Waxahachie, west of us is this line that will probably be moving in through our area probably as early as 10:30 off to the far west, really the western edge of Johnson County, Bosque County there, and then continuing on over the course of the following 2 or 3 hours. So early morning, late night tonight, early in the morning, it's about 8:07, so we're still probably at least a couple of hours away from those storms moving into the western fringes of our area. So we'll be watching that as well. And Robin, you're saying the winds haven't let up behind it. Yeah, so we continue to see strong winds out of the south. This low pressure system, this is a fairly strong storm system, even though we are in a relatively low tornado threat or low severe weather threat for our area, still a strong system. So we're getting the southerly flow, and that's why these storms are moving up out of the south. That's why we've had such strong, very potent moisture over our area today. So very strong winds. So even without these storms, yeah, there's going to be some pretty gusty winds across our area. Tomorrow, even though these storms are moving through, we still won't be getting the cool air tomorrow. That waits until Sunday. This slow-moving storm system, we won't be on the backside getting the northerly winds until Sunday. And even at that, we're basically going to cool. Excuse me. We're basically going to cool down to right around 60 degrees. So we're not really looking at a situation where we will be looking at the very very cold temperatures. We're going to be looking at a situation where we'll dip down possibly into the 50s in some places on Sunday. It should be topping out right around 60. And then by Wednesday, Thursday next week, we're back to the upper 60s. We could be in the 70s by next weekend, a week from tomorrow. So, February, as I mentioned before, and this is not an official forecast, this is just a preliminary, very early gut feeling. I just kind of really think that we're looking at probably being done with the cold snaps for this season. Colby, thank you so much for your very generous donation through the Venmo. Greatly, greatly appreciated there. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. And all of that stuff through Venmo, Cash App, all of that is greatly appreciated. All of it helps, especially as we're ramping up towards spring here. Just ordered a new piece of equipment today. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to let that be a surprise. But that will be coming in next week, and that's part of our preparation for spring. Meteorological spring begins March 1st. So that is when we kick into high gear here at South Metro Weather. Of course, for our family, we're kicking into high gear as well. My anniversary is March 9th. My oldest son's birthday is March 23rd. My birthday and the solar eclipse are April 8th, and I'll be involved in events with that. And then we will also have my youngest son's birthday, April 23rd. So those 2 months are incredibly busy. So it's going to be a wild, wild ride through the spring this year. All right, James, you said you're in Decatur, visiting from Palmer. Anything you worry about up here? So in the Decatur area, you do have these storms coming in. I would say they're going to be there in probably the next hour or so. So yeah, pretty strong storms headed that way. Again, should be weakening somewhat before they get there. But yeah, James, be paying attention. And that area usually gets better coverage by the TV stations too. So if there's anything too rowdy going on, the DFW market will probably have you. I may not be looking that far north as much. However, you do have fairly strong and at this moment severe storms off to your west that you'll want to be paying attention to. So if you're in Decatur and you're thinking about driving down to, back to Palmer, I would say if you can spend the night up there, I don't know if that's your plan, then great. If you can spend the night up there, that might be advisable because pretty rough storms to your west headed that way. So normally wouldn't talk about Decatur, but had someone up there, so do them that favor. Continuing to hear about this storm from Italy down to Milford, and it's kind of hanging out there, so I'm a little bit more concerned about flooding in that particular area. So that's, yeah, I think we could be looking at some flooding problems, and then as we get through new and Skylar. So yeah, I know you want the radar expanded. We're going to be, I'm going to focus on certain areas and then we'll keep it expanded. It's going to go kind of back and forth. So hang with us and we'll be looking more at the Keller area. Will be included at times, but just hang with us. I'm going to focus in where the storms are actively happening right now. And then as we go through the night, we'll have more updates around the area. So in a camper at the motocross track, boy, take cover and batten down the hatches in that camper. It might get a little wild in that storm. Nothing tornadic headed your way right now, but shoo, straight line winds could make a mess there. Let's see. And now I'm getting a bunch of notifications. That's okay. That's weird. All right. Okay. trying to keep the phone orderly here so I can see what notifications come in, but man, that was wild for a second. I can stay informed. Okay. So no severe weather going on right now. I want to clarify that we don't have any severe storms happening at the moment. The heaviest activity is here in the Italy area, stretching over towards Ennis and then over closer to the Bristol area here. So again, right there along 34 is where we have the heaviest activity. Gusty winds out there right now, and that's going to be kind of area wide. That's just a part of those winds that are moving through our area. Just south of Corsicana here, we do have some heavier activity that continues to intensify here. So as that continues to move into the Corsicana area, that's going to get heavier and heavier. Wind picking up at the 5 Points area, Javier. So yeah, that's going to be right outside of this storm too. So not only is this storm producing some winds by itself, but the system overall is giving us some pretty strong winds, there too. Getting loud in Oak Valley for a minute, but it's calmed down a little. Yeah, so there's plenty of lightning in these storms, especially the one in the Italy area right now. Plenty of lightning and thunder in that storm. Quite a noisy little, can't say that word on air, little B word. Not going to say that on air, but man, this storm is just, this is really, realistically, when you get down to it, this looks like one of those storms that really is just annoying. It's just sitting there bringing lots of lightning and thunder and lots of really heavy rain. I'm concerned about flooding there, and it's just being a little punk, man. It's just, storm, move, get out of there. Give these folks a break. Because it's making plenty of noise down there. I mean, you can see all the lightning with this one. You definitely want to be inside for this storm. I've made mention before the fact that lightning, that's all you get. That's all the warning you get for lightning. And also, it can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. So lightning is no joke out here. You really want to be careful with that. So yeah, make sure you're indoors. And I've heard so many people say, oh, it's okay, I'm on my porch. I'm watching from my porch. Guys, I've seen a porch get obliterated by lightning. So it doesn't care where you are. Go inside. Go inside with this storm nearby there. So let me check something else here. I don't know why. That explains a lot. Okay. Okay, awesome, perfect. All right, Chris Andrade, you're in Ferris looking south. The lightning show is amazing. I'm sure it is. I can see some of it out of the window now. Southeast corner of Johnson County lightning is putting on a show. The lightning in this storm is pretty prolific. If you're able to see it, it's going to be impressive. But again, you want to be careful. You want to be careful because 30 miles outside of this storm, you could have lightning striking in those areas. So just be careful with that. Be careful and be mindful of that. And for those in Waxahachie that are watching, this storm should stay south of Waxahachie. You could get some of this towards Lake Waxahachie, towards Dunaway, up on the hill, that area. Southern Waxahachie, southeastern Waxahachie could get part of this, but I think most of it stays south. I think most of it stays south and east of town, going more towards Palmer, Garrett, over that area. If Pete Delkus can cancel schools, can you fix the internet? Have a lot of work to do. I can't and he can't. He likes to take credit for a lot of things, but unfortunately I can't do that for you. I wish I could, and I'm sure he wishes he could. I'm sure he wishes he had all kinds of superpowers, but unfortunately we don't. We can only tell you what the weather's doing. But I understand the frustration because, man, oh man, if my internet was out, I wouldn't know how to handle it. The good news is we have power backups on all that now. So if through the night we do lose power, usually here at the Weather Center, we tend to lose power briefly. We tend to just kind of have little flickers, and they don't really last very long. So that makes it easier on us. But, we do have battery backups that can take us through those quick flickers and get us back into our rigmarole. So is this moving up to Red Oak? No. Well, not at the moment. Kind of look at the track of this thing. Looks to be weakening here if you can believe that. So it does look to be losing intensity here as it moves northward. So again, looks like some of this it's trying to make its way up into Waxahachie. So downtown Waxahachie, really the southern and eastern portions of Waxahachie could get some of this. I don't think you'll get the meat of the storm necessarily. I think that will still stay east, but you could get clipped by this in parts of Waxahachie. I think Red Oak will miss out on this storm. So I think it's going to stay south and east of there. So here's a little bit of a wider picture of what we're looking at. More going through Navarro County right now, from just outside of Blooming Grove through Corsicana, almost to Kearns there. Excuse me. So we have kind of this weirdly shaped storm moving north. So kind of that dip there, but that's going to continue to move on north with the rest of this activity going from there. And then, yeah, right along 35 up into, 34, up through Ennis and up into Kaufman County, past Bristol, out that area, we have more of this activity. Now, as I have mentioned a few times, this is not the main show. Off to the west, and I'm going to switch these radar towers again, this is the main line. So we have this line of storms, some of which are severe, from Graham down towards Breckenridge. That is a severe storm. The rest of this, not severe warned yet. That's a special weather statement, that kind of thing. But that will continue to move on east. And again, I expect this to move into our area, really western Johnson County into Bosque County, right around probably 10:30, between 10 and 11 o'clock is what I've been saying. So probably around 10:30 or so. And then probably moving through Cleburne from probably around 11:30 Hillsborough, 12, and then maybe 12:30 Waxahachie. But again, we'll wait and see what this one does, and as it gets closer, we'll get a better timeline here, and I'll be monitoring that. But it's not here yet, so we got to wait and see. It is expected to weaken before it arrives, so that should make things at least a little bit easier. Yeah, so hearing a lot of reports of strong winds in Palmer. So some of that could be outflow from this storm, and then some of that is just the fact that we just have strong winds coming from this system overnight. So yeah, lots of wind coming in just from the overall surface winds across the area, and then yeah, some of these storm produced winds as well, being pretty interesting across our area. And I'm just checking some other things here. I don't see anything new about. Yeah, so it looks like NBC5 just posted kind of their timeline here. So they've got it quite a bit faster. They've got it moving into. They've got it in Mineral Wells at 8:50. Well, what was I looking at here? So they've got it in DFW at 10:14. So moving east at 45 miles per hour. Wow. Have they increased in speed that much? Let's see what this warning says. Ooh, good lightning strike out there. Yeah, east at 45 miles per hour. Well, then let's adjust that. So these are all increasing in speed. Of course, that's the storms on the northern side of this. That may not necessarily be the case. May not necessarily be the case for the rest of this. But if that is the case, then yeah, 10 o'clock for, okay, we just had, looks like they've just expanded the severe thunderstorm watch eastward. So now covering Jack County. And let's see, how late does that go now? Let's see here. So that's going to be, okay, so that's until midnight. So it's the same time period. Okay. All right, yeah. So they have expanded that severe thunderstorm watch eastward here. So including Jacksboro, Grafford, Strawn, Stephenville, Comanche, Hamilton. Comanche might have been, was that in there originally? I don't think it was. So yeah, they have expanded it eastward, still not covering our particular area, but it looks like these storms have sped up now. So, and that's just going off of what NBC5 was saying, and that now reflects what's in a warning now. So looks like they are picking up speed. So now we have to move that up a little bit. So as early as probably 9:30 in western portions of Johnson County, and then 10 o'clock in Hillsborough and on from there. So I'm going to continue to monitor this here, and this line moving in from the west. So we really are looking at, that puts it in our area in about an hour, really in the Granbury Glenrose area here in about an hour's time. So that will be worth watching as well. I want to make sure we're on local radar. Yep, okay, so we're good. So this is what is left of this activity in our particular area. So from moving out of Milford now, Italy, Ennis, over into getting close to Kaufman there, and then in Navarro County. So really this has been relegated to they're just thunderstorms. They've never really met severe weather criteria. They haven't been warned. I haven't had any reports of small hail out there. So it looks like these storms are kind of starting to take a step back and weaken a little bit. Doesn't mean they can't strengthen up again later, but they are weakening now. So this cluster south of Waxahachie going through Ennis, and then yes, this cluster down in Navarro County. I'm still seeing lightning out the window there. So still plenty of thunderstorms moving through this area, and that's going to continue on to the northeast throughout the next, several minutes to an hour or so. And then we will be watching those storms. Let's check the velocity here for a couple of things. So some stronger winds out there. Most of those winds, though, are part of that system that's moving through, but or really, I say the system, the overall system, the overall low pressure system, bringing some gusty winds to our area. But we are definitely looking at heavy rain with these, frequent lightning and thunder, but they are weakening as they move through that area. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap up the stream for now. We will be back later tonight as that line moves through, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for now so that I can take a quick break and kind of watch the storms and analyze those as they approach. Watch to see what the trends say about the strength, and we'll see what they do. So more severe weather coverage could be severe, and may not be. Maybe may continue to weaken as they get closer. That's kind of what we hope for, but we will continue to watch those as they get closer and bring more live coverage.